Hello guys, welcome back to another Lumley trading video. In this one is going to be video 3 for the funding account challenge, but the second day we're actually taking trades. You can see another positive day, made $307.50 realized. Obviously take off a bit of commission, that's about $300 after commissions. Now, what trades did we take today? Firstly, exact same thing as yesterday. Check the trade ideas. Again, you can find these on the Lumley Trading on LinkedIn, or you can subscribe to the newsletter in the description. We went through all the trade ideas, and yesterday we did obviously the 3 trade ideas. All of them worked out exactly as planned, and today the exact same thing, 100% accuracy over the last basically all the newsletters posts so far. Because again, we're in here as I'm doing at the funded account challenge, we're only putting in the really high probability trades because obviously we don't really want to have any drawdown at any point on the account. So we're only trading the really high probability setups. So seeing that, first trade opportunity of the day, Core PCE price index. This was released at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. What was the personal trade plan? Not fast on the range. All we're looking to do is fade the move using the indices. Again, a bit different to normal. Normally it's the currencies used as a fade and indices direction, but in this kind of market it seems that currencies have seemed to be pushing direction a bit harder, while the indices tend to be a bit more of an easier fade. Again, you've got to be watching this, how they change in different market conditions. Now, we did put as a note as well, ES can be more profitable but needs you to take on more risk. YM, which is a Dow, can be on the safer side, but as it's a smaller value per tick and less volatile. So again, that's all just down to personal preference. We traded it over on the ES, I believe. Actually, this one, I will go over it. So actually, this is the one, I did actually trade it. It did exactly as we wanted, so I'll go over it. Why didn't I avoid it? Really, it was just kind of just didn't press the button. Here we go, 8:30. Like we said, a fade. And one way to make this, actually, we can make it a bit clearer by doing a tick, because again, I can show you how the fade worked. So if we go into a tick count, what you can actually see, we have to go over to 8:30 a.m. Okay, I can't actually go back that far on the tick calculator. But what actually happened on the move, again, if you're watching it live, you would know it pushed down first. So this was important because again, that's a fade. The move of the original direction is a fade. So when we went back to test it, we saw a lot of times it would kind of fake out and then move the other direction. To keep the kind of safe as possible, all we looked for was a fade to the downside, play it to the direction. Now this happened within the matter of about 10 seconds. Now yes, it hit supports, but again, I just didn't press the button, but the trade plan worked out. So if you did catch it, you saw it on the trade ideas and you did trade it, let me know. Again, I personally missed it, but it would have worked out if we were to trade it. Then on to the next trade. So I'll pull this back on. USA ISM Manufacturing PMI. This was released at 10 a.m. Eastern. Personal trade plan. Again, not fast on the range. The reason for that is ISM PMI is really a strong link to inflation, and as of right now, markets are so sensitive to inflation that even a small change, anything really less than expected or even as expected, it tends to just be taking quite a hit on the market. And so in this kind of environment, we just play the direction because we know it's so much more sensitive. So again, what did we want to do? Yen does not provide a fake out, so we will have orders ready either side of the yen, 5-10 ticks either side. Again, this is just kind of depending on how volatile it is before the release. If it's not moving that much, you do 5 ticks. If it's moving a bit more heavy, then 10 ticks either side. And the reason we can place one at either side is, firstly, if it faked out for any reason, you would have your stop loss in place. But it also does mean whatever way it goes, you don't have to hit the market and it's already flown past. It will just trigger as soon as it flies. Again, stock indices are moving the same direction as the currencies right now, so as the yen. So if I see indices move the other way, this is most likely a fake out, and we'll look to also add size onto the currencies. Now, how did this trade actually play out? On the left, we'll put the yen, on the right, we'll keep the S&P. So, 10 o'clock, this one candle here. Absolutely crazy movements. And we'll go over to 10 o'clock on the yen as well, on the S&P, and that was this candle here. So what happened on the, as you can change this over to the 6J. because this one, again, this trade actually was really good. So firstly, again, we had our orders. We closed at what 0.0073715. Again, we had orders out either side. I think I had an order at 40 and at like 90. So again, if it went about 5 ticks either side, we would have got executed. Now, what happened? On the yen chart, look at our entry. We got in at 0.0073840. So if we plot that on the chart, we got in here. This is long. We got in long here. Now, where do we close? Go back to the chart on NinjaTrader. We ended up getting out at 3870. Now, this was a bit of a problem. So we got out around here. So we made only $37 on this trade, which is annoying to see because you saw how much that went in the money. This moved over $700. Moved over $700. It moved 800 value, which if I quickly throw into a calculator, again, all you have to do is that's 800 divided by 5. So that moved 160 ticks at $5 a pop. That's an $800 trade we were up. And I did actually see us up that value, but this was, again, just one of those unfortunate cases. Obviously, news came out at 10 o'clock on the dot. I had a call from TradeStation coming exactly at 10 on the dot. And then also just had someone come into the office at 10 a.m. on the dot. So there was just a lot of distractions. I just couldn't properly concentrate. By the time I looked back at the chart, it had already came back down. But again, direction, we could have made easy money because it shot up literally here. We got a great fill. Again, you could have closed out anywhere in here and got the trade. So it worked out. Again, we still made money on the trade, just nowhere near as much as we should have. We should have made, near enough $1,000 on that trade on one contract. That's all we were trading, one contract. But again, really no fake out. Faked out by 1 tick. Again, that's why we had the biggest fake out we've seen on the yen is 5 ticks. 3 ticks. That's why we have a orders out 5 either side. So again, we can just get in that trade so good. And again, there's just so much upside. So that trade was really good, especially if I just didn't have all the distractions. Again, part of trading, nothing you can do about it. Just live and learn. But would have made that trade way more profitable. And if you catch that live, definitely let me know in the description, in the comments, because could have been, that's the kind of trade that can make your P&L in a day. A single, 10-second trade can make your P&L for the week. So that's the executions over on the yen. And again, actually, we can see how quick that trade was. I think we were in it for, a matter of seconds, not all that long. We were in 20 seconds. So again, you can see we entered exactly as the news released on the dot, because again, we just had the order out either side. Now, on to the final trade of the day, the natural gas. Again, probably one of my favorite trades to take. How did we trade it? So over on NG, as soon as that loads, we can go over this trade idea, and we'll quickly put it up on here again, all posted in the newsletter before they happen. Natural gas inventory, it's actually storage, I forgot to change that, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard. Not fussed on the range, just looking to fade. Every time crude oil and natural gas is the same, we're never looking at the value or the range, it's always a fade. Provides a fake out of at least 40 ticks, but on the higher end it can push all the way to 125 ticks. So again, we did do this as well in the video before markets opened, just to go over, this is when you have to have a bit of money available. And the reason for that is, again, it can go against you sometimes quite a lot. We know it's going to fade, but you have to kind of have that money, you have to have the maintenance margin. And if you're doing a challenge, like we're going through the funding challenge now, you have to make sure you have the money on the day to be able to afford it to go against you, because it's one of those trades, it has a really high probability, but sometimes you are offside by, 40 ticks or so. So you have to allow for that kind of movement. You have to have that, and you have to be comfortable taking it. Obviously, if you're trading it with live money, you have to be comfortable and kind of trust the plan. Again, not as failed in any releases this year, but always be prepared. If we were trying to fade it and we saw, again, the third candle, meaning the 3-minute candle, if it carried on going against a fade, just cut out, because we've never seen that before. So if it happened, get out, take the loss. Probably quite a big loss, but nothing we can do about that. Take the loss, observe what happens from there, and then we know for next time whether that was the right or wrong decision to do. But again, that's the trade plan. Now what happened? So again, 10:30, we're over on natural gas. So that was this trade here. Now you can't see this, again, looking at it as a 1 minute. That's why I sometimes try and go back on the tick chart. I'll see if it works this time, because it is quite important to see. And when you're doing testing, again, sometimes with 1 minute, these trades last less than a minute. So you have to be kind of watching them live, and it's kind of hard to backtest unless you can look at them in a tick form. But again, if we go back then to 10:30, we can see exactly how this trade performed. Get rid of that. So 10:30. So here we hit 10:30. What happened? Natural gas fell, and yeah, I'm looking at natural gas for some reason. That confused me for a sec. We can also actually change this to natural gas just to give you a bit clearer. As you can go back actually on a smaller time frame on this, 10 seconds. There we go. We can do a 10. Oh no, it's 10 minutes. I can do a 10-second chart and it works. This will actually be a much easier way for you to see the trade. There we go. We can. If we go back to 10:30, we'll actually show you then on NinjaTrader because it's a lot easier. So again, 10 seconds. This is a 10-second chart. Look how quick this moves. You get that push to the downside, you get that fade. So again, I catch nowhere near the bottom. I got in at 7:40 as I started seeing it push up. Could have got all the way down at 10. So again, we could have made another 30 ticks on that, which again is another $300. If we got in at that low, that's an extra $300 we missed out on. But again, hard to time fades perfectly. You just have to know what the plan is. So fade that, and again, straight back to the open. Within 20 seconds, it faded down. Faded down 50 ticks within 30 seconds and all the way back up. So again, that's all that trade is. Happens every single week. So again, one of the best trading opportunities you can get. And again, if you literally all you traded was crude oil and natural gas inventories every week, that's an easy $1,000 that can probably be made there every week on 1 or 2 contracts. Again, it's just that you have to be able to afford to go through the drawdowns and comfortable, because again, that's 50 ticks down offside. Let's say you got in instantly for any reason, you got filled right at the high, you got a rubbish fill. Again, that would have been 50 ticks offside, which is $500 per contract. So again, you just have to be able to sit through these, but if you can, that provided the trade opportunity. And then again, once it's filled, I no longer pay attention to it. Sometimes it trends, sometimes it doesn't. There's not a clear enough trade opportunity to do it after the fill. So that's the trade opportunity, and that's kind of the easiest one I would say to trade because it's very predictable. It hasn't failed in a year on either the crude oil or the natural gas, so knowing it hasn't failed, it's so much easier to trade. So those were the 3 trades we took. Again, annoyingly, we did miss out on the first one, which was the Core PCE, but did work perfectly. The ISM, bad execution. Again, trade executed perfectly. We were up, I think, $800 on the trade. Just didn't trade it properly. Again, a few distractions at the time we were trading it, but nothing we can do about that now. But again, it's good to see, even if you get out near break even or you make a tiny bit of money on the trade, nowhere near what you should have, at least you're seeing the trade play out, and it's just going to make you concentrate that bit harder in the future. And again, just making sure you're getting these plans and your plans are correct and your direction and ideas are all getting, a good probability of correctness. So you're never going to be right 100% of the time, but as long as you're prepared and you're right most of the time, you can make all the money you need on the news. And then obviously natural gas executed pretty well. Again, you're never going to catch the bottom of these fades. It's kind of just once you start seeing hesitation, jump in, and that's exactly what we did. So natural gas, I was pretty happy with that trade. And again, $307. You can see we're now at $50,500 on account value. So we're already done about 16% of the total P&L goal we need to pass the challenge just within 2 days. So hope you enjoyed the video. Hope to see you carry on watching throughout the progress as we go through the funding 50k account at Earn to Trade. And again, make sure we've got non-farms and stuff tomorrow, so we will have a newsletter out tomorrow and also a video kind of before the market's open, just so you can see what our trade plan is for it. But I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, why not drop a like and subscribe. Hope to see you next one, and that's it. Peace.